So I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're really excited to have Dar with us here again to talk about the nuts and bolts of business planning. But first, I will introduce myself and a little bit about the program. So my name is Melissa Houston, and I work on AKSourceLink, which is a program run out of the University of Alaska Center for Economic Development. Essentially, the purpose of AKSourceLink is to help connect entrepreneurs and small business owners, particularly those in rural Alaska, with different nonprofit, university, and governmental resources that can help them to either start and launch or to grow their business. This by connecting entrepreneurs to a network of 145 different resource providers. These providers are those entities that can provide those direct business resources for you. You can access our entire network of providers by visiting our website, which is AKSourceLink.com, or you can call the toll-free number listed on the screen in front of you and reach out to us that way. The tool is completely free, and it's all accessible online. We did that specifically so that folks in rural Alaska can find the information when they need it and then use it when it's applicable to them. Screenshot of our homepage there. We have a number of different ways that we can provide resources and tools and connections for different rural entrepreneurs. The first one I want to draw your attention to is the Resource Navigator. And that's what I mentioned in terms of the 145 resource providers that we have in our network. Each of those providers offers a different array of services, and some of them may be more or less applicable to business or business idea, but it can be hard to know who's who, let alone what resources each provider can offer to you in your business. So we have an easy-to-use navigation tool called the Resource Navigator that lets you search and find different providers that can address your specific business need without even knowing who those providers are. So to access that, you'll go to AKSourceLink.com, click on the Resource Navigator button, and from there you can put in a little bit of information about your business, including what type of business it is, what its location is, and from there you can use a drop-down listing of questions to exactly what the need is that your business has. Once you provide that information, a pop-up list will appear that will show you which different resource providers can help address that question. The resource I want to draw your attention to is the Resource Library. That's a database that offers a little bit more indirect resources for you. They're a bit more generalized, but it allows you to browse through a library based on topic and find information from business plan writing to getting started with a business in Alaska, resources specifically for women's businesses, resources on marketing, financing. It's you name it, and it's hopefully there. So you can just browse through all those different topics and find all these links. And the nice thing about doing that as opposed to Googling for resources is that you know that we can vouch for all the links that we've provided. None of them are going to be scams. None of them are going to be from for-profit entities that just want to make money off of you. Most of the links are resources that are provided through our resource network. They're all good links that you can follow. We do a few other resources available specifically through AKSourceLink. The first one of those is our blog. It's updated about twice a week. It's actually a shared business blog amongst all the different U.S. SourceLink affiliates around the U.S. The kind of cool thing about that is that you're getting perspectives not only by Alaskan authors, but also by authors out of Kansas and Wisconsin and other places. So you're able to stay current with not only Alaskan business trends, but also business trends across the country. Then our newsletter, which focuses a little bit more on what's specifically happening in Alaska and what you need to be paying attention to as far as business events and different things go here. That goes once a month. It's completely free to subscribe to. You can do that on our homepage of the website. And we'll just keep you up to date with different events that are going on through our calendar, as well as blog topics that are interesting and just different information that will be useful to folks all around the state. In fact, calendar, I've already mentioned it a little bit, but we do list a statewide calendar of business events that are taking place. It is an interactive calendar, so you can see in the little screenshot picture there, there's a map of Alaska. You can actually click on the region of that map when it's pulled up on our webpage, and it will narrow down all the events that are listed on the calendar to only those events which are accessible in your region. So that's a really cool tool because not only can you look at the different color coding of the events to find out what types of events are there, but you can also narrow it down to make sure that you're only looking through the events that are accessible to you. Some of those events are in person. A lot of them are offered via webinar, which, as you know from calling on today, is a great way to get connected regardless of where you're physically located around the state. You can also connect with AKSourceLink through social media. We do have a Facebook page as well as a Twitter account. You can go to both of those hyperlinks there. Facebook is facebook.com/AKSourceLink, and our Twitter account is @AKSourceLink. So that's the best way to find really up-to-date, up-to-the-hour information and updates through SourceLink. I do want to remind you, too, that we're here to help. So if you need personalized assistance, please do feel free to reach out and contact us. You can call Lisa Whedon, who's currently on this webinar as well, or myself. Both of our contact information is listed there, and we're more than happy to help you over the phone or via email. And one reminder for you before we welcome Dar is that this webinar presentation is a part of a greater webinar series, and I want to invite you all to join in on any of our future webinars. We have 3 more left in the series. Our next is on September 3rd. It's actually an evening presentation, so it's not at the standard 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but rather it's at 5 p.m. We'll have Rick Wilk, Rosewood Coaching, and he'll be talking about something really interesting. His presentation is called Green Gazelles in Rural Alaska, the Opportunities and Obstacles of Economically and Ecologically Effective Rural Businesses. So that will be really interesting and very cool. After that, we're going to learn from Michael Hanzuk about the state of Alaska resources that are available. And then finally, I'll be giving a presentation to close out the series on business plan breakdown. So just kind of business planning, extreme basics that we can talk about in an hour. Calendar for those. If you want to register, of course, registration is free, and you'll email me the same way that you emailed me to register for this presentation. Let me know which one you want to sign up for, and I'll get you that link through WebEx. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dar, who's going to be talking about the nuts and bolts of business planning. So thank you, Dar, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Let's see. We're just going to go right into this. We have a little less than an hour to cover lots and lots of information. The thing I want to talk about is just kind of a little bit about, we're missing an image here. The name of this course is Nuts and Bolts of Business Planning, and my name is Darlene Kawennano Johnson. That one. And I'm available for consults and talking with or whatever through LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. So I can go ahead and make those links. And I understand that Melissa's going to make sure that my PowerPoint is also available on the AKSourceLink.com site or .org website afterwards. So if you miss anything, go back and pick up that information. What qualifies me basically to do a course in business planning is I have over 20 years as an owner of Eagle Vision Consulting and Training, and 25 years of experience as an entrepreneur. I've had lots and lots of small businesses, and I've had fun with them, and some of them not so much fun. But the main thing is that I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and that's the best I know how to do is basically start businesses. I'm also a community provider for Department of Rehab and Travel Bulk Rehab. I also assist individuals with through either one of those programs who are also looking to start their own business. And I also do all kinds of seminars and training in various places, and I'll get to that later on. Okay, the first thing, I'm just going too fast through these things. Okay, here we go. The overview for what we're going to get in today in like about 47 minutes or less. Is we're going to do a feasibility checklist. I'm just going to kind of go over it real briefly. There's a lot of things that you need to ask yourself when you first want to start a business or go into self-employment or anything like that. And so we're going to kind of go over some general considerations, personal assessment, product description, benefits of using checklists and how important those are, and types of organizations. We're also going to talk a little bit about why you do what you're doing. And also I have a whole bunch of really good resources, so that should help you. And then a bonus giveaway, and then we'll have some questions and answers. The very first part of this is why you should even do a feasibility checklist for your business planning. One of the first things to do is when you start a new business, you're really excited and your passion is running high, and you're thinking about it as the end result of your business, which is good because you're hanging on to that vision. But the art of it is where you're at now, how do you get over to the other end? So that's kind of where it's going. It can be pretty risky. So before you even, take off out of the chute, sit down, take the time to actually do like a feasibility checklist. And designed to kind of evaluate your general business and personal profile to indicate where you're at. And if there's any areas that you definitely need to have some extra training in, or you need to get some resources, things that possibly cause later on failure in your business. So you don't want to do that. The hardest thing about doing the feasibility checklist for yourself is that you really have to get really down and dirty and really honest with what you want and how you plan getting there. So some general considerations to ask yourself. This is a very, very abridged list. It's very short. I'll get into some more information about how you can expand this list, and we'll talk about that later. But these are some really brief ones, like family, willing to kind of and ready to support your new business venture. Ask yourself, do you understand that owning a business may involve 12 to 16 hours of a day, possibly 6 days a week, 7 days a week, holidays? You're giving up a lot of time. Is your family understanding of that? Are you prepared to lose an investment or your savings in your business? That's a possibility. Do you realize that businesses may show a profit for 1 to 3 years? So are you willing to, not have a stop for that time? Sometimes it happens. It's a reality. Is there a market for your type of business in your area? Do you feel something that will differentiate yourself from other competitors? Would have new and improved, or is it same old, with just different packaging? Do you understand that marketing trends for your particular business? That's really critical. The use of social media today is really powerful. How you have to know how to package it and where you're going to use that market, because it's so social media is so big right now that you kind of almost have to find out where your niche is and target those areas. And like I said, there's many more considerations to ask yourself. This is just like the start. Ask yourself those hard questions, and these are just kind of general considerations. Here's that are more personal. You have to do a personal assessment of your situation, where you want to go. Like, do you have to make your own decisions? Can you take advice from others? Are you, physically able to do the work? Are you going to need to hire somebody? Do you have the ability to obtain credit? Bonding, insurance, those kind of things. Any extra licensing? Are you qualified for licensing? Do you need a license? Start your business with or without grants or loans? Do you have money saved up? Crowdfunding is a great way to raise funds for your startup seed money. However, you really have to package that well, because lots of people are doing crowdfunding now. Do you have cash reserves for your business? Expenses should you need it? If you run short on something, are you able to cover that with your own cash reserves? And then are you prepared to less than what you're currently earning for possibly the next 1 to 3 years? More project description, which is actually the business itself, and your idea that how to go into certification and your reality. Kind of what a business plan is and the importance of having one. If you don't take anything away from this webinar, that is probably the most critical piece of information is a business plan. A lot of people think business plans are associated with loans and grants and getting money. A business plan actually your personal roadmap for where you're going. I always advise people it's better to just invest your time in a business plan. You've not lost anything but your time and, some printer ink. Other than that, if you just out of the chute decide I have this great idea, I'm going to do a business, and you start putting money into your business, it's not a good idea. You really have to have the plan in place so you know exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, with times, and when these things need to be done. And so business plan is one of the most critical pieces, or is the critical piece of starting a small business, part of your business planning. If you already have a business plan, yay, that's awesome. And go ahead and start, implementing it. A business plan is also a living document. It's not meant to be written in stone and that's it. It's a constant adaptation to growth and changes in your environment and in your products or your service. So if you don't have a business plan, you know the components of the business plan where you can secure them. I'm going to answer some of these questions, not all of them, but some of them later on in the presentation. Just be full of, knowing where to find this information. Are you aware what legal form of ownership or business you want to have, like a sole proprietorship, a partnership, corporation, those kind of things? Business accounting and bookkeeping. That's another thing where small business owners kind of get all trumped up is they're not sure about the accounting and the bookkeeping. And so if you're not good at that, or you're not sure about it, is there a member or friend, somebody that obviously that you trust to handle that portion of it. Okay, description, we're continuing on, which is your necessary expenses, or your overhead, insurance, utilities, advertising, salaries, any kind of licensing fees or registration fees, those kind of things that you may need for your business. Few of those. There are the major costs associated with your product, your service, your inventory. Also, major risks associated with your product or service. I have that down twice. There are major questions remaining about your proposed venture. Ask yourself a lot of really hard questions about your business. Look at it from a 360 viewpoint. Look at every single possible angle, to get a real good picture of where you're at, because those questions will pop up, and find answers for those, because they will help you write your business plan, and later on will help you avoid pitfalls, or it will also help you find solutions. Are you aware that less than, unfortunately, 50-50 chance that your business will still be in business from 2 years from now? Benefits of using checklists. We're going to talk a little bit about checklists now. The benefits of using them, again, is they provide a framework for planning. They provide a means to measure your progress. They reduce mistakes and finances. And they also increase efficiency and effectiveness. Checklist for starting a business. Now, this checklist came directly out of the PDF called Do Business in the State of Alaska, and later on it'll be on the resource page, so you can just click right on, go right to it. And the first thing I advise everybody when I do business counseling is the first thing you need to do is download this PDF. It gives you every single resource and how to do things in the state of Alaska, from how to do a trademark, where you get your IN number, where everything that you would need to do any business in the state is in this PDF. It's about, I think it's close to 100 pages. Maybe it's 78 pages. I'm not sure. I know it's a pretty thick document. Lots of information. And the very first, or on the 10th page, after you go through all the contents part, is this checklist. I wrote it, except for the download the PDF. That's not on there. But the very first checklist, you'll notice, and I highlighted it, is prepare a written business plan complete with financial statements. I always recommend that you do 3 years on the financial statement. Years is actually really ideal if you can do that many years. That kind of keeps you on track. You know exactly where your break-even points are. The other thing is decide whether or not you wish to operate, what your entity is going to be. Decide if you you want to incorporate and obtain the necessary incorporation papers. You can get those from the Department of Commerce. Obtain your business license. Contact appropriate departments to determine any other licensing requirements specific to your business. If you're opening a food business, then you have to work with the department and get food handlers things. If you're working, say, in construction, you're going to have to work with OSHA and probably the DEQ, those kind of offices. Also, you need to obtain your federal employment identification number from the IRS. Obtain federal employment. Oh, went on there twice. Sorry, you weren't paying attention. Okay, contact the IRS for your this taxpayer education service to determine potential tax obligations and filing requirements. There's also obtain the unemployment insurance identification number, which you'll have to pay into payroll taxes for unemployment. Also determine the necessary compliance with any kind of workers' comp. And that's going to be on the resource pages, direct links for some of these agencies. And then also, again, here's about OSHA. Make sure you are, if you're in any kind of industry where safety and manufacturing, that kind of thing, make sure you know what your OSHA regulations are. Okay, basically the whole, we talked about that whole business planning thing, and the business plan was that just do it. It's failing plan, it's planning to fail. I can share with you a couple of businesses that I did not have a business plan for, and yet within a year I was belly up. So I learned from those two. I lost a lot of money just thinking I could just go ahead and start one, and it doesn't work that way. Business planning is very critical. Kind of just a very quick summary of the things that would go into a business plan. Your executive summary, your mission statement, your background of your company, your product description, a marketing plan. Always know what your competitors are doing. Keep them very close to you. Sometimes knowing who your competitor is not necessarily a threat. It can actually be something that you can work with in, say, if the company is bigger than you and they have overflow. If you know who your competitor is, you can go to that competitor and work with them and collaborate and ask them, if they have small work that they would normally turn away, that if they can funnel it your direction. And it would take big projects that you get inquiries on that you aren't prepared to do at the moment, that you can go ahead and channel those over to that bigger company. So look at your competitor analysis and see how you can work in a win-win situation in partnership with others. A SWOT analysis, that's your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Again, that's kind of another way to look at the internal mechanisms that are inside what you can provide and what you cannot provide, as well as what's outside your business that can be provide for you and what you can't. Again, that kind of dovetails a little bit back into the competitor analysis. Operations, know how you're going to operate your business, your financial planning, and timeline. So that's the basis. The only thing that's missing on this business plan that I would add, and I always encourage people to do, and I see templates like this, and they don't have it on a lot of them, is you always add somewhere in here an exit strategy and a growth plan. Some businesses that I've worked with have had either one of those and got a big order for something for growth and were not prepared to do it. They didn't have a clue as to how they were going to complete the order after they said yes. The other thing happens too is an exit plan. Sometimes things happen and they change and you need to get out of your business, really not crash and burn. So having an idea of an exit plan is a good thing to have in your business. Okay, so we're going into the types of organization. We have sole proprietorship, general proprietorship, limited partnerships, are also known as LPs, limited liability partnerships, which are LLPs, limited liability companies, LLCs, and a whole host of corporations such as corp, nonprofit, professional corp, cooperative, religious, foreign corp doing business in Alaska. Just a note on the foreign corporation doing business in Alaska. If you are doing business and your office is outside the state of Alaska, Alaska views that as a foreign corporation doing business in Alaska, even though we haven't left the United States. The continental United States are still viewed as a foreign corporation because it's not based in the state of Alaska. So just a note about that. And the information that I'm providing here in the next slide are general use only. They're just small bulleted things just to kind of give you an idea what each one of these organizations are and what they do. Advise you to definitely seek legal advice for specifics on any business you want to start, because legal tool will be able to direct you on which type of business is appropriate for what you are doing. So self-ownership basically has formalities. All you do is you pick up a business license and hang up your shingle, and make sure you have an EIN number, you're paying your taxes, and that you are doing that part of it. It has fewer government reports are required, and the owner's assets are subject to business liability. So you and your business really aren't separated. That's a big thing with the sole proprietorship. But these start if you're just going to be working by yourself. Partnership is the next one, which is on resources of all partners. Each partner is liable for all obligations. It doesn't matter if you have 50% interest or 10% interest. You still have the liability for all the obligations of the business. Each partner has power to act for the business. So even if you have 10%, you still have the power to act. Okay, next one is limited partnership. The general partner controls the business. The general partner is liable for the obligation of the LP. And limited partners are like shareholders. They have limited obligations. So in this case, you have one person who is making and calling all the shots, but also that person has all the liability that they're carrying for the partnership. Liability partnerships are a general partner does not have personal liability for another person's negligence. The partner controls the business. So in this case, if your partner does something goofy or dumb, they personally will have to take care of that. And if there's a lawsuit, they're going to get sued, and that's the thing. Okay, so that's that on the limited liability. And there's a limited liability company, which has more formalities and government reports. The members own the company. Members' liability is investment. In this case, their liability is limited only to their investment. Either members or managers can manage, and all members participate in management. Next one is a corporation. Corporation, whether it's an S corp or any of these other ones, I don't have them all specifically flipped out, but this is like in general terms. They have the most formalities and most government reports. They usually trace capital and limit liability. Legal entity exists separate from the owners, so the business is a separate person, basically. The shareholder liability is limited to the investment, and shares can easily be bought and sold for the corporation, and it's controlled by an elected board of directors. Okay, just a bit about taxes. This is all you need to know. Is that you pay federal, state, municipal, and anything else that comes along. And there are more taxes than you think, and always consult with a good accountant when you get into the tax part of your business, setting up your financials. Okay, know why you do what you do. This is the, before I go into this, does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. This is one of the best parts, the fun parts that I like when I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs. Is if you do what you do, your whole attitude about being an entrepreneur and a business owner changes. It's just in a very positive direction. People just go into business and they, want to sell widgets. My widget better than your widget, buy mine. But if you know why you get up in the morning, why you do what you do, it's an inspiration thing. And if you can kind of change your mindset to be more inspirational than manipulative, like there's two ways to influence human behavior, and basically customers are human beings, and there's certain reasons why we buy certain things from certain people. It's usually, if you think about the last thing you purchased from somebody, if you really think about why you purchased that from that small business owner, there's something in there that has to do with you felt something, you knew something, or you connected with that person, and it was beyond the object that you bought. So that's an inspiring business owner. I mean, if the business owner is going to try to wheel and deal with you, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, few people in our companies that clearly articulate why they do what they do. We're drawn to leaders and organizations that are good at communicating what they believe in, their ability to make us feel like we belong, like we feel special, like we're safe and not alone is part of what gives them the ability to inspire us. And the reason I'm going through this is there's a guy by the name of Simon Sink who inspired me about 25 years ago. And after I didn't write business plans, the first two that crashed. And he came into my life in the third business and inspired me to no end. And I still believe in running businesses this way. He's now on TED Talk, but he's an early mentor of mine that taught me to understand why I do what I do. I'm passionate about what I do because that touches other people. And I don't care what your business is. If you know why you do and you're passionate about what you do, you will be successful in this. By, I mean your purpose, your belief. Why does your company exist? Why do you get up every morning? And why should anyone care? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves that you believe in what you're doing. And so Simon Sink quote, I have there's a link for his. He has really great YouTube on TED Talk, and if you watch that, you'll understand the importance of why you need to know what you're doing. Okay, what's the whole point of why? Well, the point of why is this is why. In business, this is a general business formula. Do not buy unless they know you. Once they kind of know you and they determine, and this happens very, very, very quickly, it's on a first impression basis, usually within the first 3 seconds. Somebody kind of determines if they know you, something you said, how you said hello, how you shook their hand, and they're going to determine if they like you. And if they like you, they have to determine if they trust you. And then if they trust you, will they buy from you? And so knowing why you do what you do is going to generate a positive feeling for people, in that you believe in what you're doing and that you're not out there to pull out from anybody or to try to one-up somebody, that you're genuine, that you're, what's the word is, it's not the outsides, basically. And then so that, there's people out there that you can read and you can say, no, I'm going to buy something from them, and I know that this is probably going to go home and it's going to be broken, or they said, no, it's fine. And I kind of put them in that manipulative category. So this is why it's important to know what you do, so that people know you, they like you, they trust from you, and then they buy from you, because they know your word is good and you believe in your product, and your product is good. And customers will seek you out of the crowd. They'll find you. They will, they will track you down. If you move into another state or another city, they will continue to buy from you. I have an example of I said to my personal life. I have I on the radio in Phoenix, hence why Diamond Dar came up. And I had a really good sound engineer in Phoenix, so he moved away, and he moved to Tennessee. And I still went to him via the internet. Now I've moved to Alaska, and I use that sound engineer. And it's because he believes in what he does, and he does a really good job. And if he moved to Europe, if he moved, to Mars, I still use him. It doesn't really matter where he lives. It's the quality of his work. It's what he does. It's what he believes in that continues, for me to, go to him. And if he jacked his prices up, it would still be worth it. So once you've made those connections with customers, and customers have made those connections with you, they definitely follow you. They'll follow you wherever you go. If you can, your mind can definitely achieve it. Anybody? Any questions? Questions? Okay, so a monthly business event that I do through the LUSEC library every month, and this is kind of, you can't really read it, so I wrote here for you. Heck yeah, it's time to start my own business. It's a 2-hour interactive tutorial I do, and it's different. I go over lots of things for small business owners. It meets the fourth Thursday every month at the LUSEC library. It's on the OWL system, which is online with libraries. So no matter where you are in the state, you can tap in through your local library. You can let them know that you want to, log on to Heck Yeah, just go to the library, and they'll hook you up, and it'll be a video teleconference, and you can interact with entrepreneurs throughout the state that also come to Heck Yeah. Also, if you really does not have the video teleconferencing capabilities, I think all of them do now, but if it doesn't, or your library is going through remodeling or whatever, you call the LUSEC library directly here in Anchorage, and they will give you a personal log in, and you can log in directly off of your computer at home. So you can always do Heck Yeah, and I encourage people. It's a really great way to network and meet new people. Plus, we always talk about a lot of different stuff. We talk about everything from bookkeeping to, ideas, trademarking, anything. Start out kind of doing the beginning of every session is doing a really good personal assessment or feasibility checklist. We do about a 9 or 10 page feasibility checklist. And get down to the nitty-gritty, and from that we develop what we're going to talk about that day. But it's always a fun class. So, here's some small business resources that I find that have been really helpful for me. The one I was talking to you about earlier with the checklist, this is the first one. It's called Doing Business in the State of Alaska. And if you go right to this link, it takes you directly to the PDF, and you can download it, and all your resources are there for the state. The one that if you ever decide if you want to actually do business with the state, if you want to be a state contractor, there's another PDF for you to download on how exactly the procedures are to do contract work with the state of Alaska. We have some more resources. Small business counseling is the SBA.gov, also one, and then there's the SBA.gov that is the general big one that specific covers all the states and everything. Then there's Alaska SBDC, which is a business development center. They're a really good resource. MBDA is the Minority Business Development Agency. So if you're a minority business owner, there's a lot of really good resources on there for how to get business plans going, how to find, see what grants may be available to minority business owners, how to become certified as a minority minority business owner. There's also the SBA.gov/NAA, which is Native American business portion of the SBA. And there's also the NCAIED, which is the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. That's their main office in Arizona. There's also an office, I believe it's in it's in the same area that a lot of SourceLink is in. And so they're also there too. There's also business planning resources like that, as well as I think on the SBDC also sometimes offers classes in business writing, and sometimes AKSourceLink also will have some small mini courses that's available. Networking, of course, one of the best networking resources I think in Alaska is AKSourceLink.org. And we have mentoring and coaching. Eagle Vision, of course, does mentoring and coaching. Or also does it through the SBA, and there's the score.org, and there's also SCORE through the SBA, so you can check on those two links as well. Business licensing comes through Commerce Alaska, and this is a direct link right to the page that will get you your business license, so you can go ahead and check and see if your business name is available, and if so, you can do one of two things. You can either purchase that business name and the license on it, or you can reserve that name, or I'm not sure, I think it's maybe $20, $25. You can reserve the name until you're actually ready to get that business license. Sometimes, it's a good thing if you have a really good name and you think somebody else might get up. Go ahead and reserve it until you're ready to purchase your license. There's also EIN taxes, IRS.gov. That link takes you directly to the small business portion of the IRS to get your EIN number, your employee identification number, and below it is the Labor Department for your state of your taxes for if you have to pay any taxes. Like say if you have a business in Westfield, that would be the area. And also this also covers employee and payroll tax. Economic development. Economic development, again, the Department of Commerce for the state is a good choice. Also, the Alaska Economic Development Department, which is aedweb.com. And also, through UAA Center, through the university, there's also a Center for Economic Development, which I believe AKSourceLink is also affiliated with. Development training, the SBA.gov has some online training, and of course, Eagle Vision does development and training as well. And as promised, here's the Simon Sink business inspiration on why and we do what we do. Okay. And do we have any questions? Any questions? Those of you who sat through this webinar, there's a book giveaway. I have I'm giving away a 1-hour small business coaching session, a Skype or a phone. All you have to do to enter into the drawing is go ahead and tweet out this webinar on Twitter at SourceLink, and just say I was there. Just even write nuts and bolts of business plan, whatever you want to put in there. Just tweet about it, and you're automatically entered into the drawing. And I will choose a winner and post it September 1st at SourceLink. And we'll schedule a time to do your business coaching session. And that is what we do. I give things away. It's a good thing to do. Any questions?
Like I need folks that if you want to go ahead and unmute your audio line to ask Dara a question, now would be a great time to do that. Otherwise, do feel free to please go ahead and write it in the chat box as well. We do have a few minutes left here, so if you have any questions, let them answered. Once. Here's one from Stacy. So Stacy says, I'm looking into a tribally run business and looking into funding possible grants. Do you have any suggestions?
Can you tell me, without giving away the business, is it a service business? Is it a product business?
Tours.
Boat tours. And looking for funding? If you want to go, I would suggest you do some crowdfunding, because if you're doing your boat business, I'm assuming that you're probably looking to go next season, since we're almost at the end of this season. That would give some time to raise some funds. Crowdfunding, you can just put that in Google and find a whole bunch of sites, but some of the ones that I've had some good experience with is one called GoFundMe, and another one is Kickstart, and what's the other one? Kickstart, FundMe, and I can't remember what the other one is. There's like a whole bunch of them. It's like doing and starting a boat business with lots of photographs. I always suggest when you're doing a crowdfunding, if you can produce a short video and use lots of photographs and really descriptive words about what you're doing, that helps generate funds through crowdfunding. And what that is basically a pro enterprise funding source. And so that, like me or you or anybody else, you can all, you can say what you need. Like you need $5,000, you get a nice profile about what you're doing, how you're going to do it, lots of photographs, videos, that kind of thing. And, I'm cruising crowdfunding, and I see, your voting thing, and go, oh, that looks like a really neat thing to do. And I like to donate $50 towards your goal, your fundraising goal. And so, Melissa does the same thing, a whole bunch of us, and your friends do it. You'll get your $3,000 over a period of time. The drawback with crowdfunding, though, is if you call for $5,000 and you only pay $4,900 and you're $100 short, unfortunately, if you don't hit that $5,000 mark, all the money goes back to the donors. So it's really critical that you hit the $5,000 goal within the time that you set that you need to have that money. The thing is with crowdfunding, if you're $100 short, you might as well put it in yourself, because, get all of it. So crowdfunding is a good source. Check on,
are you aware of any funding or grants specifically for tribally run businesses?
Yeah, to the Administration for American Indians, .gov. They have lots of funding, and unfortunately, Alaska doesn't really tap into that funding. You can check with 3 Enterprises in Wastilla. Go on their website, and they always have announcements for funding that's digitally owned. And the place you might be able to find funding is through what's it called? First Nations Development has grants available sometimes, and National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development has, in their resource pages, they have a section tab that has requests or proposals for different kinds of tribally owned businesses programs.
All right, Dar, and I'm going to try and get some of these listed in the comments here too so that folks can find it. What other questions do we have for Dar? So Lacey was asking here, Dar, what those three funding sources were, and I have the 3-star AK, the Administration for Native Americans, which is af.hhs.gov. And the third one that you listed was First Nations Development, is that right?
Yeah, First Nations Development.
That like it is firstnations.org.
Yeah, let me think what else there is out there. What else too? The rural, what's it called? It's here. It's like rural enterprise, rural development.
In the USDA?
Yeah, there's a section under the USDA. Also, there's another one for rural, the Alaska Village Initiative website. You might see check there too. Is that specifically for Alaska Native villages and tribal entities here?
I think that's, I'm going to look what that one is really quick. I think it's AI.org.
And for some of those, if is this going to be more like for a social enterprise for the type, or is it going to be more for like is it part of a tourism thing? Because if it is, you can look at the Department of Tourism as well. Or if it's an eco-friendly kind of project, you can go into, you can just put in eco-friendly grant resources. And there's grants out there for eco-friendly type businesses. So look at that. Cultural preservation, there's also lots of grant money out there under different and programs that are specifically targeting cultural preservation.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions in the last couple of minutes here? Oh, Dar, I want to thank you very much for presenting to us today, and I want to thank everyone else for being on the line with us. Let you know that, as Dar said, we will have this recording available on the AKSourceLink website, which is AKSourceLink.com, and that will be posted up there later this afternoon. So you will be able to access both the recording as well as a copy of Dar's presentation in PDF form. Thank you all again for being here, and again, I just want to remind you one last time about our next webinars in the series. I'm just going to pull on the screen here. And mark your calendars for September 3rd at 5 p.m. and then our series will conclude with the next two, September 10th and September 23rd. So feel free to share this flyer, which is also available on the AKSourceLink website, with anyone who you think might be interested, and we hope to see you back here again. That'll get off.
Everyone, great day. And thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.